My name is Dave, and I thank you for joining me for another episode of Soul Ascension Insights. Some may have heard about people waking up and raising their consciousness, or that the earth is moving from the third to the fifth dimension. These are topics I've been reading a lot about recently. These topics are controversial, and I'm not trying to change anyone's mind. I just want to share what I've read and see what you think in the comments. With that said, let's get started with episode number 7, titled Soul and Earth Ascension, Part 1. We'll start with this 1949 quote from Albert Einstein. Quote, "There will come a time when the rich will own the media, and it will be impossible for the public to make an informed opinion," end quote. We now know, due to retired intelligence officers and other insiders, that the CIA has journalists and editors on their payroll to suppress or promote stories that fit their agenda. The CIA has operatives at all print and TV organizations also, which means we no longer have an independent media. They probably influence TV and streaming programming too. I believe many people intuitively know that mainstream news and everything else being broadcast at us is government/corporate controlled. That's probably why alternative media has grown exponentially. So what do we do to negate this situation? One thing we can do is to avoid mainstream news and read the newspapers carefully. Don't get caught up in the fear they spread. This is such an important point. We are bombarded with fearful images and programming daily. Never-ending wars, catastrophic storms, the threat of financial upheaval, and yet another murder of a young person just starting their life. And that's just the news. If we add in the infinite variety of crime-focused TV shows and ultra-violent movies, no wonder we are anxious and fearful. Look, I get it. I know you love your crime-based shows, but every one of them is about acts of violence. Every night. I don't see how we can raise our vibration when we subject ourselves to that type of negative and fearful images and messaging. When we as a people are fearful, we are easier to control, and that's what the powers that be want. I know it's not easy, but we must avoid fear-based programming and refuse to consent to fear. We can use the time we spent on fear-based programming and put that time towards finding and engaging in something we're passionate about. I'll talk more about the importance of living your passion in a future episode. Our frequency will rise when we focus on creating peace, compassion, and love in our own lives. As we do this, we will automatically join mentally with others who are also creating their lives around peace, compassion, and love. These are the people who will raise their vibration enough to move with the new earth to the fifth dimension. All we need to do is refuse to consent to fear and project love and compassion to those we interact with. I, for one, am tired of the old fear-based ways, and I'm ready to change the world for the better. This is an achievable goal due to the power of conscious entanglement that we discussed in episode number 6. When I was around 12 years old, I became aware of how random and crazy the world was, and I looked for a philosophy to anchor me during times of chaos. I found Dr. Vincent Peale's book, The Power of Positive Thinking, and have been practicing its teachings ever since. Think negative thoughts, and you will attract negative people and situations to you like a magnet. Think positive thoughts, and you attract positive people and experiences. Like all things worthwhile, it takes practice. When a negative thought appears, notice it, but immediately replace it with a positive thought with intent. I lead a blessed and grateful life, and this positive thinking practice is a big reason why. It's definitely worth the mental effort. Now, there's one caveat to the power of positive thinking. There is no safe haven when we get stuck in our own heads. We have no harsher critic than ourselves. Even I have to watch for and avoid getting stuck in my head. Regret is not helpful and keeps us stuck in the past instead of focusing on the now, which is the only thing that matters. The past is a dream, the future an illusion. The only thing that is real and worth focusing on is now. So for the Earth to ascend, a large number of humans will need to raise their vibration, and many are. But I love that there's a backup plan. That plan is for first-time soul volunteers to incarnate. Because they have never incarnated on Earth before, they have never experienced violence, hatred, and fear, and bring a high vibration of positivity to the Earth at this crucial time. It's like the 100th monkey effect that I spoke about in episode number 6. If we can get between 1 to 10% of the population emitting a high love-based frequency, it will spread mind to mind and become the conscious property of all the people, even if they are not even aware of the change. This higher frequency and awareness will spread through our unified field consciousness and influence the thoughts and behaviors of all the people. I know it sounds nuts, but they have carried out experiments that prove this theory. The many souls lost over the past decade to famine, war, and natural disasters had finished their work here and had agreed to leave early to make room for the new high vibration souls. When the critical mass has been reached and enough people have succeeded in raising their vibration and frequency, then the new Earth will be born. This is the plan to save the world. These new souls, of course, will have no conscious memory of their reason for coming at this time, as it's always been, but just living their lives at a higher frequency will be enough, as they will influence others just by their presence and the aura they exude. Now, there will be those humans who are so heavily steeped in negativity that nothing will be able to change them. If that is their choice, they will not be judged or suffer. They will simply remain with the old Earth and continue on with their lives. But by the time they realize something is occurring, it will be too late. They will not be able to change their vibration quickly enough to follow. Thus, the separation occurs. The two Earths separate, and life goes its separate way. Thanks for joining me for this episode of Soul Ascension Insights. You know, we definitely cover big topics on this show and talk about challenging concepts. I sincerely appreciate you joining me for the journey. In the next episode, we'll continue to dig deeper into soul and earth ascension. As always, I'll leave a book and media list below for those who wish to explore the subject further. Thanks again, and I'll be back with more episodes.